So the topic of tonight's training is the magic behind internet marketing. Now you'll notice in this slide that I have the word behind underlined. Now you may be thinking that I'm going to talk about, how great and how magic internet marketing is and how wonderful it is. And it truly is. I mean, it's one of the best businesses you can be in, or it's not really a business, it's a niche that you can be in. That you got lots of avenues for building your business and your brand, depending on which way you want to go with it. And it's really easy to market in. I mean, there's lots more avenues for marketing in the internet marketing niche itself, as opposed to any other niche that there is. Now, there's several others that are really comparative to internet marketing, but internet marketing is still probably the easiest one to break into. Not that there's, not a lot of competition, because there is a lot of competition. And being as such that there is competition, we see some sales tactics that come along that sometimes are a little questionable and make us wonder, whether we really should be paying attention to that person that's making that pitch to you, or that offer, or during that training. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is some of the magic that goes on behind the scenes in internet marketing. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about how I came up with the idea for this training. And if any of you have Netflix, and you may even remember this has been off the air for a while, but it still plays in reruns. I've been watching a TV show called Magic's Biggest Secrets Finally Revealed. Has anybody on the call ever seen any of these episodes on this show? Does anybody remember the show? Or if you have Netflix, have you watched any of the episodes of it? Okay, well, no matter. Anyway, the premise behind this show is that this well-known magician comes on to the show and reveals how magic tricks were done. He reveals every step of the trick and how they were performed. And it kind of disillusions you a little bit in magic, because I'm a big fan of magic. I always have been all my life. In fact, when I was younger, I always thought I might like to be a magician, but never pursued that avenue. But watching this show, it got me to thinking about online marketing, and in particular internet marketing, and how some marketers conduct their business, and how they go about, acquiring customers and prospects and leads, and some of the things that go on behind the scenes that aren't revealed to us until we've made the commitment to become either a lead in somebody's autoresponder series, or we've decided to make a purchase and become actually a customer of somebody that's selling a product. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight, is some of the things that go on behind the scenes, and some of the things that we see right up front that we may recognize them, but don't really recognize the value of what's happening in front of us. So, internet marketing has its own set of magic tricks. There's no mystery to it. There's certain techniques and things that we can do to boost our sales, to generate more leads and prospects. And, there's just methods and programs that we can use, that will actually, help increase, our traffic and our sales and our leads and prospects. But there's one magic trick that's being used and has been used for a long time, and it's really effective, and it's called blind copy. Now, blind copy has its good points and its bad points, and we're going to talk about both here in this training tonight. And this is what the main training is about tonight, is the use of blind copy in online marketing, and in particular the internet marketing niche. So if you aren't familiar with what blind copy is, let me give you a little definition. Blind copy is used to describe a product for sale that speaks more about the results and the benefits than of the actual product, without really revealing what the consumer is buying, or even in some cases the components of what they're purchase product is going to be. In other words, it's really hyped up copy that really doesn't give you much information about what you're going to be purchasing. It really wants to tell you more about what kind of results and benefits you'll get out of having it, as opposed to telling you what you're going to be using to get those benefits and results. It plays real heavy on the curiosity emotional trigger. That's what blind copy is based upon, is using the emotional trigger of curiosity. Now, as I said, blind copy preys mostly on the curiosity trigger, which is an emotional trigger in generating sales and interest. It's deceptive in its details. In other words, blind copy doesn't reveal everything about what they're trying to sell you or trying to convince you to join or purchase or whatever it might be. The details are misleading and, like I said, in most cases hyped up to tell you more about what you're going to get out of having as opposed to what you're actually getting. And it never fully reveals what you're going to be purchasing. They may go into some of the details about what you're actually going to get as far as some of the components, but then in a lot of cases they don't even do that. They leave out that part. They just tell you that you're going to be getting a training. They're going to be telling you get a video or a set of videos, but they don't tell you how much the videos, how long the videos are, how much content's in them, how long the training will actually last, or what's actually involved in any of the training. It just tells you that you're going to get training or you're going to get a program that does this or that or the other. And like I said, again, it plays heavily on the results and the benefits as opposed to describing, what the actual product is that you're purchasing. So blind copy is really effective and it makes a lot of sales. And you may be wondering, why does it make a lot of sales? Why is it so effective? And the reason why it's so effective is because it preys on the gullible and the lazy consumer unwilling to do research that is most often looking for a desperate or a quick fix to a problem. And in particular, in the internet marketing niche, blind copy plays to the person that's looking for a get-rich-quick or a really quick fix to getting traffic, something that's going to just turn on traffic instantly, or something that's going to build their list overnight, that kind of thing. It plays to people that are looking for instant, fast results, that aren't willing to do the research to find out, that those kind of things, for the most part, do not happen as they're saying on the sales copy. They're looking for something that's going to instantly put them ahead of the game of where they are now, and that they can start seeing the results much quicker than having to do the due diligence of putting in the time and the effort to actually build their business the right way. Now, blind copy does have legitimate uses too. Now, I'm not saying that blind copy is totally useless and you shouldn't be using it at all, because it was actually developed by copywriters for a specific use. It's just that some people took it to the extreme and started using it as their main basis for building sales pages and product sales pages and webinar pitches and that kind of thing. Some people took it to the extreme of what it was meant to do and started using it for other avenues because they seen that it could generate lots of fast sales. So what are some of the legitimate uses that blind copy does have? Well, in particular in email marketing, blind copy is really effective in autoresponder messages and broadcast emails because curiosity is one of the best methods of getting higher open rates. One of the best subject lines you can come up with that gets a lot of response is to ask a question in a subject line, and that's generating curiosity. You're asking a person a question and they're wanting to find out what the answer is. The actual email can even further expand on blind copy by telling about a product or service, but not actually telling enough about it for the person reading the email to actually make a decision just from that email. It's like I said, it's really effective in email marketing. That was one of the main reasons for developing that technique of writing sales copy was for email marketing. It's also really effective on squeeze pages or opt-in pages, whichever one you want to call them, because again, curiosity generating headlines will dramatically increase, the opt-in conversion rates. It's been proven over and over before that just a simple headline that generates curiosity is going to get more opt-ins than a fancy two-step opt-in or a opt-in page that has lots of info on it, or one that has a big long video. Just a simple headline that generates curiosity is going to get people to put in their email address and opt in to an autoresponder list. So it's a great use. That's another great use for blind copies, to ask a question that the person is curious about, want to know what the answer is, and they're willing to give their email address to find out that answer. Now, blind copy got its original starts in classified ads, is where it really got started, because newspapers have been around the longest of any advertising medium. And classified ads, usually the space is limited, and they're based on the amount of text that's in the ad. So they're costly. So you want to try to limit and get the most power pack punch out of an ad you use in classified ads. So blind copy was used in those to generate curiosity and get people to call a phone number or send a letter through mail, or in recent times go to a website. But like I said, newspapers have been around the longest as far as advertising mediums. So blind copy was used a lot in classified ads. TV and radio ads are another spot where you'll see blind copy being used, and mostly for that reason is because time is limited in radio spots and TV commercial ads, because time is really expensive if purchased on a major broadcast medium like it. So to generate curiosity as quick as you can, to get people to go to a website or to dial a phone number, you hardly ever will see people mail anything, give a mailbox address from a TV or radio commercial, but it does happen occasionally. But most of the time it's either a phone number or a website that they're wanting you to go to. And again, the time is so limited and the space is costs so much, that it makes good sense to use blind copy to generate curiosity. But blind copy is really bad for sales pages. And like I said, blind copy has, great uses. I just gave you 4 of them that, are great uses of blind copy, because of the emotional trigger of curiosity they generate. But using it in sales pages is really a bad thing. And it's where people went, I guess you could say, they went to the dark side of using a technique for generating sales and leads in a bad way, because it did work. I mean, it does still work. People will fall for blind copy just to satisfy that curiosity and find out what's behind that page and what's in the next page. So, it does still work for sales pages, but it's really not a good thing to do, especially if you're just now starting out and you're wanting to build your brand in online marketing, and you want to build your brand as a reputable marketer, so that you build a loyal following of people that trust you and are willing, to make purchases from you on a continuing basis. So here's the things that using blind copy will do for you on using it on sales pages. It will generate more support tickets. You'll get more people that will request support, asking for help, because your copy on your page didn't describe enough about what they were purchasing, and once they got the product, it may be that it doesn't work exactly like that you described it on the sales page, or it's not descriptive enough for the person to be able to use it, or it's something that doesn't even fit the person that purchased it. They let their curiosity make the buying decision for them, and it wasn't something that they needed to purchase to start with, and now they're wanting to know how they can get the use out of it once they've spent their money on it. It also generates more refunds because people are disappointed. Most of the time when a vendor is using blind copy on a sales page, they are most of the time selling you something that's really not in a saleable format and should be sold to start with. They're using that copywriting technique to make the quick sales so that they can make some quick cash. And lots of, like I said, most of the time the products you're going to get from sales pages are like this are going to be disappointing in one way or another, either in that, it's something that you've seen before, something that you've purchased before that's even happened like that, or it's just somebody's just completely rewritten another sales page and used blind copy for their sales page to sell a product that that's been out on the market for a long time and sold in many other places. It also generates a bad reputation amongst the vendors and their buyers. Anybody that's been stung by blind copy and purchased a product and wasn't satisfied with it, the next time you see an offer coming from that vendor, you automatically have a remembrance of your last purchasing experience with them, and you wonder if that's going to happen again. Now, it may be that their next page maybe doesn't use blind copy. Maybe it is a real legitimate sales page, that goes the 9 yards of explaining what the product is and what it can do and everything, has the full complement of being a legitimate sales page. But because they had bought something from you before and it was inferior, or they had problems with it, or they wanted a refund from it, even if you do send another offer out to that person that's made a purchase from you like that, they're going to still remember that last purchase and the experience they went through with it, and it's going to taint the buying decision, even if, like I said, you have a legitimate sales page for a legitimate product on your next offer to them. So, in concluding this training about blind copy, now over the past month or so, we have seen lots of different offers come out that are using blind copy. I posted about one over in our Facebook group just recently, a couple weeks ago, about one that was actually made product of the day, that it was just completely blind copy, and even the things the guy said in the copy weren't true once you got the product. So besides using blind copy, he actually lied about his product. So once you got into his product, you found out he wasn't even telling the exact truth. So, it's still being used a lot today. It's still a technique people are using because they know it generates fast sales. But in general, when you do come across a sales page that's using blind copy, you want to avoid purchasing from those sales pages. More often than not, the reason is that they're using the blind copies because the product or its contents, could be the contents are the problem. We've all bought products, that once you actually got the videos or the PDFs, the English was so bad you couldn't make any sense out of what the person was saying, and it was just basically useless to you. Or they skipped so much in it, that you couldn't use it to start with. They left so much out. They just assumed too much knowledge on the consumer's end before purchasing the product, without telling that on the sales page, that it required a little bit of experience before you actually dove into whatever it was that you were purchasing. It generally, for the reason they're using the blind copy is because that product they're selling is inferior, or its contents, like I said, it's got bad contents in it. And the vendor wants to make a quick cash, and then most likely they will disappear right after that. Most of the time, when somebody uses blind copy and they make a lot of sales and it becomes really popular and they make a lot of sales, most of the time, if it is of an inferior product or the contents are really inferior, it's usually a one-hit wonder for that vendor, and you never see or hear from them again. Very few marketers come back from a deliberate blind copy sales product and survive from it and build a reputation back. Very few make that transition. Most of the time they will go off and they will assume another online persona and try to start again. And it may be they do the exact same thing again because they experience some really quick cash. Maybe, like I said, in that one I posted about in the Facebook group 3 weeks ago, they made lots of cash really quick. It may be, they're wanting to repeat that cycle over and over again, so it doesn't bother them to have to keep starting over. Now, the problem with that being is, if that is the route that a vendor is taking, it means they've got to have some really unscrupulous alliances to work with them in order for each product they release to be an instant success like that. Because basically, like I said, they're building over again each time. Now they may have during the sales process build up a list that they're going to actually mail to that list before they do their next product launch that uses the blind copy. But if they are disappearing and starting over again, they're basically, even though they built that list in a legitimate way by having a business transaction amongst the person is the reason why they're on their autoresponder list. By them starting over again and using that previous list, they're actually in a way spamming. Even though they did get the list in a legitimate fashion, they're using it in a way that shouldn't be used, and that it's almost like they had sold the list to someone else to let them build their business on a previous sale. So for yourself, you want to avoid using blind copy to protect your own reputation. Like I said, there's lots of blind copy out there now, and like I said, it does work. It makes great sales. If you can get people to promote it, it's going to make instant sales because there are lots of desperate people out there that are looking for quick fixes. Whatever the niche you might be in, you can use blind copy in lots of different niches, not just internet marketing. It's just that it's more proliferate in the internet marketing niche than anywhere else. But you don't really want to base your business on starting out like that or having product like that in your sales funnel, because your reputation means a lot. I mean, it takes a lot to build a reputation to start with and get people to start following you. And you don't really want to blow that by, sending them to offers like this that, they're going to be unsatisfied with the purchase once they actually make the purchase. So you want to try to, like I said, avoid this, on your sales pages, go the extra steps, to actually tell the person what the product is they're getting, what it does, what they're going to actually get from it if they use it. And, you don't have to tell every single thing about the product. I mean, if you're doing a training, you obviously don't want to reveal every bit of your training in the sales page. You'd never make a sale if you did that. But you want to tell people enough about the training so they know what they're getting when they purchase it and what it's all about. One of the worst things that happened on the Warrior Forum about 3 years ago or so was it was really popular on the Warrior Forum to use blind copy and WSO threads. And you could always tell when a WSO thread got started like that because within, a few hours there would be, 50 to 100 posts to that thread. And if you got to reading those comments from people, people were asking questions. Does it do this? Does it involve this? How much does this cost? What's the steps to get started? Just all kinds of questions like that that could have been answered in the sales copy. People were replying back in the thread asking those questions because, the original WSO thread starter had used blind copy trying to generate, quick, fast sales from the Warrior Forum. So, they cracked down on that. They've cut out a lot of it. Now, it still does happen over there, not as much as it used to, but it used to be really bad, that you would see, a thread get started and within an hour or two, have 50, 100 posts in it, people asking just little menial questions that could have been answered in the sales copy. ClickBank, about 5 to 7 years ago, it's been about 5 years, I guess, wiped through their whole marketplace and started de-indexing most of the sales pages that use blind copy. They did not want that type of sales page in their marketplace. And in fact, one of the criteria now for having a product for sale on ClickBank is you must tell exactly what they're going to be purchasing and exactly what they're going to get with the purchase. In other words, the contents of what they're going to get. That's the two criteria a sales page has to meet now with ClickBank before it'll be approved, which is a good thing for them because it was getting really bad over on ClickBank too as well, especially when a few years ago people were launching those one-click softwares for generating traffic and leads and sales. I'm sure everybody remembers that a few years back where there was, it seemed like every week there was two or three of those $37 one-click softwares being launched over on ClickBank. Now, like I said, if you want to try to avoid all this, and your customers will thank you, and they'll thank you with future sales because you're going to be building your reputation by actually selling them exactly what you told them you were going to be selling them on the sales page. People like to buy, but they want to know what they're buying up front. Uh, Curiosity is a great thing, and you can still use curiosity to an extent to generate sales, but you don't want to have your sales page built on the premise of using curiosity as the whole reason for the sales page to generate sales, because like I said, you will generate ill will amongst your buyers from doing it, or your prospects that join your autoresponder list. You will generate ill will with them, and it'll be hard to rebuild that reputation after doing that.